So I don't know if, since we're talking to the SwissBorg community, maybe the Ultra team can start by introducing themselves since our audience might not be as familiar with them.
Definitely. Thanks. I think Rami is there, but he's connected. It's the Meta Rami. Nada is around as well, and I think David will be joining shortly as well. But I can kickstart with the intro for sure. Yep. So. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks for having us today. So I will give, definitely a quick overview of what we've been up to, who we are, and then what we are looking to do in the future. I will start with David and myself. So we've been working together for, I think, the past like almost 20 years now, and we've been in the games industry since then. So initially we are gamers at heart, playing lots of lots of tournaments when esports wasn't a sport, which is the case today, hopefully. So great evolution since then. And basically we had a few companies. So the first one was a mobile game studio, which we've done in China. So we lived around 8 years there. And we had a few companies. So the first one was this mobile game studio. And shortly after, we created a PC game studio, which is much more core to our experience and liking back in the days. This was for creating an FPS game, AAA type, and the studio was acquired by a company called Kingsoft, which is a bit similar to Microsoft in the West, but for China. So that was fun. We had a great experience as game developers. And after that, we had a monetization strategy company. So helping game developers, publishers, like Tencent, Gameloft, different large companies to improve their games to generate more profit or better retention for their users. And just before we jumped on the wagon of Ultra, we created a game console project. It was a big partnership with AMD and the Chinese government to create a game console, which was basically, it's a hardware plus you have the distribution angle. So like the same way like you would have Steam on a PC, it's a Steam, but within the hardware, within the console. And so we took all this experience to create Ultra, knowing that we've been around in the blockchain space since 2010. Late 2010, early 2011. So we've been following the whole progress, of course. We were miners back in the day. And yeah, so far, so good. We started around 4 years ago. David is co-CEO and myself as well. And David handles everything related to product development and design. And I handle everything else. So business, marketing, finance, legal, operation. So yeah, we are right now about 75 people full time. Great team, amazing people. And then the rest of the crew, like at exec level, is composed of Mike Dunn, used to be the CTO of Dell, Time Warner, Hearst, and Ed Moalem, who used to be the head of Apple Games and Google Games unit. And then we have Victor, which is our CFO as well. So yeah, with that, I will maybe leave David to give a quick intro on the project, and maybe if you have any comments or questions before that, don't hesitate, jump ahead.
Yes. We, as Nicholas mentioned, we've already did a game distribution platform, but it was in a console, and we've been following the blockchain space for a long time. And so we saw the opportunities that blockchain introduced to the game industry. And so that was for us the main driver of Ultra's creation. Is really what we wanted to do is to solve problems for the game industry. We've been on the three sides of the game industry. We've been gamers, we've been game developers, and then we've been game publishers. And I think every time we were in a role, we were facing different problems. And then we can talk to other developers, other gamers, other publishers, and we realized, okay, everybody kind of like always has the same problem, and blockchain really brought us a new tool to solve industry problems, and so this is how Ultra kind of like took birth, and so we designed, you know, the platform initially as just a game distribution platform, and when we did that, we realized, well, you know, it's great, it's Steam on steroids, but um, you know, Steam is Steam, right? It's a massive, massive company that has been there forever, racking billions of dollars every year. And so how can we compete with them? We're a small company. How can we do that? And so we needed something that would be a transformation of the game industry, just like what Steam did when they released, when, you know, Steam, they really transformed the game industry. And so we wanted something that was as um, different and as important to these major steps. And so this is, you know, kind of like where we came up with this app ecosystem structure, so that Ultra is not just a game distribution platform, but it's actually an app ecosystem which is open to third parties. So today we have Ultra, the client, and within which we internally call Ultra OS. And then inside you have Ultra Games, which is our game distribution platform. You have Ultra Wallet. You have the NFT marketplace. You have also application from third parties. There's a tournament esports platform coming. There's a live streaming platform. There are all kinds of other services that come. And so what what this means is that Ultra doesn't need to develop everything, because third parties can extend the platform with new functionalities. And this is extra valuable when you actually have a blockchain foundation, because there's a lot of innovation that are possible today with blockchain and NFTs. And so our application ecosystem is kind of like a fabric, which will allow third parties to leverage our user base and conduct business in our platform. And so the value of Ultra will grow with the diversity of applications that will, come on the platform more and more over time.
Great, thank you for the introduction. Now, we just listed Ultra in the SwissBorg app last week, which is really exciting. And it is the first of a number of different metaverse tokens we have planned. So I thought something interesting to discuss might be the metaverse and the role Ultra plays and what we see as the future of the metaverse and crypto. So who would like to get started on that topic?
Sure. So I think the metaverse is something that will take a lot of different shapes. Um, I think the way we need to think of a metaverse is it's kind of like, well, the way I look at it, because everybody has another explanation of what the metaverse is. But the way I look at it, it's really kind of like a new environment that allows third parties to connect onto and conduct business or spend time for leisure. And so I think blockchain technology is definitely the foundation that will make that happen, because what you want is, you want this environment to be as open as possible. Because, you know, who are you to say what you can and can't do in the digital world, or what you should and shouldn't do in the digital world? And so having something completely open allows anybody to come with their own IDs, and without asking for permission, to just come and say, hey, this is what, you know, I'm doing now. And then maybe everybody wants to, hey, I want to do that too. And so this is I think what is the most exciting to me. It's really having an open environment where people can conduct business or have fun together in diverse ways. And I think Ultra's infrastructure is ideal for building this, and we're working on different areas to facilitate this, including the app ecosystem in itself, like I mentioned, will enable people to do a lot of things. But then also we're investing in exclusive content, which we will announce, and some of them have a very deep metaverse like ecosystem that will be very exciting for Ultra users, but also other like literally businesses to invest in this environment.
Thank you very much for your answer. I have another question for you guys. I think the part that I'm very interested about is, I guess it's very clear now that metaverse gaming is part of the reality of tomorrow, or it's already happening somehow, right? But I wouldn't say that when I look at what's going on blockchain right now in cryptocurrency with play to earn, we are in a mass adoption, let's say, sequence, or we are at the level of mass adoption. And I remember 4 years ago when both of us we launched the project, there was this question around what's going to be the driver for mass adoption in crypto. Would it be payment? Would it be speculation? Would it be, I don't know, transformation of digital identity, smart contract, whatever? And at the end of the day, I think 4 years after, we just realized that maybe the biggest driver for mass adoption is government printing a limited amount of money and people starting to worry and want to invest in Bitcoin and other assets that are in limited supply. And at least I think it's provide it provides some kind of answer when it's come to what would be the trigger for mass adoption.
Can we just talk for a second about what mass adoption actually means?
Yeah.
Because I think that's something that we've been talking about for a while within the crypto industry. And to my mind, we've really very much crossed that threshold. Like I just looked it up. There's 68 million blockchain wallet users today. And that kind of sounds like mass adoption to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think everything is relative.
Sure, of course.
I think mass adoption is mass adoption. It's not, you know, less than 100 million is billions. That's mass adoption to me.
Sure.
And the problem that we're facing today for mass adoption is um, the user onboarding experience and the overall user experience today with blockchain technology is just not there.
Sure.
When you're talking about 80 million, for me, it's a niche market because we're talking about 80 million across all services, all platforms, and like blockchain platforms and so on. So we're really speaking of a niche market, and I think this is where the problem lies. It is the technology is too complicated, and right now blockchain services are catered for blockchain users because it's like, okay, now you want to make a transaction. Okay, first, install your wallet, write these 24 words, do not lose these 24 words. Okay, now you want to make a transaction, first go on the exchange, buy the coins, and then transfer the coins to your wallet, and this and that, and it's just like jumping through hoops more and more. And so this is something that Mr. and Mrs. Everybody are not going to do. And this is why we're not, I think, in a mass adoption phase
No,
at all.
but I think we are starting to build infrastructure as well, and we see more and more players getting involved to
Yes.
provide this,
Sure.
this kind of the layer to mass adoption, which I agree. But my question was more relative to gaming. I think, for example, I remember when I was a kid, basketball was not that famous. I'm French, and it was not that famous. And then Michael Jordan become this massive star, not only in the US, but all around the world. And all of a sudden, basketball was a funny game to play. It was something I wanted to play with my friends and etc. So my question to you is, what will be the moment, in your opinion, right? And it's all speculation, but is it the guild? Is it esports? Is it NFTs? What is, in your opinion, the trigger moment where we're going to say, okay, now it becomes it becomes very clear that people need to come playing on video games on the blockchain because that's the future.
Well,
I think
was Mike,
definitely. Go ahead, but go ahead, Remy.
I was just going to say that like Michael Jordan was famous because he had a special talent, but he didn't exist in a vacuum, and he existed within like a larger context of a lot of really talented other players. And when you're trying to make the comparison between Michael Jordan as a special player that elevated uh, an industry to an international stature, then what we actually need to be talking about is making sure that that baseline level of talent, talent in the industry, is already at a high level, so that that peak, that one Michael Jordan that will pop out of the industry, that will elevate us to mainstream adoption, is that much higher than that current baseline. And if we're asking like the general question of whether we are at that mainstream threshold, then I think we have to be honest and look at the current ecosystem of blockchain games and say maybe not. Like maybe we're getting closer, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think the reality, if you take the parallel with Michael Jordan, uh, when does it become mainstream is when people dream about it. It's as simple as this. If you think about like Michael Jordan, people are like, wow, this guy is amazing, it's so cool. I want to be that guy. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna play basketball. This is awesome. And that's the same with everything which gets mass adoption. It's like when you're like, oh, this is something I want because I'm dreaming about it. I want to be that person. I want to have this thing. Then it's become mainstream. And that's what you need. And with gamers, you already have like more than 3 billion gamers. So as soon as you have, uh, I don't know, like some people, like some big tournament around, play to earn, and then people will start, oh, look, this guy is my friend, he did that, and he did this, I want to be the same. Then you get people to all care about it all of a sudden because their friends are doing it, because they want to do it, because they see somebody they like. It's like the Kardashian, right? It's another parallel. People know a different standard for beauty because of, this is the kind of influence that people have. People are like, oh, this is what I want. This is what I think is amazing now, because people dream about it, and that's it. I think it's the same for blockchain. You're gonna get
But
also.
yeah, so
For sure.
I think that's a fundamental need. But at the same time, for basket, you just needed a basketball. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's no risk.
You that's all you need, and you can start doing basket. And today we're not there, and this is kind of like what Ultra is pushing towards, is to be able to say, well, just install Ultra. And like you don't need to know what blockchain is, but suddenly you can do these blockchain things because we abstracted all of the complexity for you away from you, and you're just going to transfer items just like what you're used to on Steam. And so that's when,
Yeah.
if on one side you have the dream or you have the drive to do something, but on the other side you have the means to do it, like we don't need to teach you how to do it, just
But
use
yeah,
the app, and then you can achieve
that's the
mass adoption.
Can we just toot our own horn for a second, like what that actually means? Because like you glossed over like years of work that Ultra did to make that actually possible. Like you want to talk maybe a little bit about the problems that we specifically identified and what our solutions for those problems were?
Sure. So basically we identified, I think something like 5, 6, 7 points that are necessary for mass adoption. And the first one is regarding the key security. Secret keys, write down on a piece of paper how, these many words and don't lose them, is something that, is very annoying. And also it's something that has proven to fail regularly. Like even adults are losing them. So just think about kids. They're going to mass lose them. So you need a better solution. The second problem is also the transaction fees, because every time you make a transaction, you need to actually pay something. And even if it's very, very, very cheap, you can imagine 0.000001, you still need that 0.0001 to do the transaction. So you need to start, going through hoops to purchase them. And so on Ultra, since the transactions are free, when you arrive, we can give you an NFT and you can literally set it for sale or send it to somebody without having to do anything. So that's also an important aspect. Then there's the transaction throughput, because if you want mass adoption, Ethereum's 18 transactions per second are not going to make it. And you also have on the business side variable operations cost. So a business today that runs their operations on the blockchain are going to have variable operation costs because transaction fees vary, because the resources on the blockchain, such as memory and so on, varies, and all of that makes business very unpredictable. So very large platforms cannot go on most blockchains because they have no idea whether it's going to be profitable or not, because it is profitable today, but as everybody knows, cryptocurrency easily multiplies by 10. And if you do something that initially costs 2 cents to sell something that costs 10 cents, and then it multiplies by 10, and then suddenly it costs 20 cents, your business model is broken. And so that's also something that we do. We try to have our service with predictable operations costs, and that includes minting NFT costs, which is core to many incoming businesses. Like, okay, I mint, it cost me 2 cents, but it cost me 2 cents now, and it cost me 2 cents in 2 years. Okay, I can do a plan now. So um, then yeah, we have free transactions. Some other blockchains have also free transactions, but they have an onboarding fee. So for example, on EOS, you need to buy your account. And once you bought your account, you need to stake some coins. And this, again, will cause a lot of problems for, kids and so on, because they just want to try the platform, see if they like it. And so you can't, charge them. And so there's, a lot of changes on our protocol that were made to make that possible. So our protocol is a fork of EOSIO, which is a fantastic protocol. I think it's the best out there because it has very powerful user permission systems. And so we just need to get rid of the problems that it had. And that's what we did with our protocol, like simplifying user onboarding and facilitating access to the services without having to jump through hoops. I think these are the main points to achieving mass marketability.
Thanks for that. I suppose as a follow-up, maybe we want to talk about some of the functional aspects of the platform, like the games platform and the marketplace.
Perfect. Sounds good to us. We don't have a specific agenda, but I guess for us as well, for the audience, as Jackie mentioned, we recently listed SwissBorg on Ultra on the SwissBorg platform to make it very easy for anyone to get involved with this great project. But I guess as well for our audience, what they would like to know from professional, from expert from the gaming industry is, what's the biggest trend that you guys see? Is it investing in guild, investing in projects that are more relative to NFTs? What's going to be the aha moments for people that will push them to spend their free time playing games on chain? Beside, the little, I think what I do see right now with play to earn is, yeah, you can earn a lot of money. I would say for a game, for example, if you take Axie Infinity, but there is only one or two like this, you earn a significant amount of money. There is recently on Avalanche, there is this game Krabada that has been launched as well. You're earning quite decent of money, but there is not the fun, right? People until now have been playing games because they feel, oh, it's good. I'm spending a good moment with myself. I'm having fun. I wouldn't say that playing Axie Infinity or Krabada, you achieve a high level of fun. So I would be curious as well to know what's your perspective on that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that the games today are not fun. But at the same time, the way I look at it is that it's a great proof of concept. And as a result, if you manage to combine mechanics where people can earn money, but actually have a fun game, that's really when you're going to have the aha moment. And I absolutely am 100% confident that play to earn is a new genre that's there to stay. It's not a fad. It's not going to be, oh, it's a one-off, and it's absolutely there to stay. And just like free to play came, and we'll keep seeing free to play games. And then some people don't like free to play games, and some people do, and some people will like play to earn games, and some people want. Just as much also, and that's an important thing to keep in mind, some people are not going to be able to play to earn games because they will be just too expensive, to onboard. But that's kind of like what the a free market is all about. Like, okay, you have different options, and you do what you can do. Like, yeah, sure, I would love to fly in private plane. I don't, because I don't have the means to do that. It's just ridiculous. But some people can, and they're happy that they can take a private plane. Here's the same. It's going to be the same with games, but and which will be, I think it will outrage a lot of people to say, yeah, but this is crazy. You need to pay $1,000 before you can play that game. And but if you look at the real world, like, you can think of, okay, well, some people don't go to the casino because they don't have the means. Well, that's what the free market is all about. And but I think there will be, for sure, play to earn games that will be free to enter, and that will still generate you money, and that will be fun. And that's kind of like what we're interested in at Ultra.
Yeah,
So,
thing is, it's a
go ahead.
question of the, how to say, the design, because I mean the early proof of concept that you had with Axie Infinity and others. I mean, they're pretty the very first games sold off on the blockchain. So you can't expect the first game to be the leading game for forever. Yeah, unless you make Mario, but still, Mario wasn't the first one. But
Or Tetris.
right? But you see really in terms of the game design and the strategy of making those games, you have to think about all the different elements. Like if you have a high barrier to entry, for example, you need like $1,000, for example, to get in the game. You didn't achieve, uh, to me, didn't really get to success in a sense that you won't have a mass market game. It will be really still niche, but a game for a rich niche of people. Great, which is fine. But if you want to have this mass market, it's really all about the way you design this game to make sure that the people who want to spend a lot of money can do so the same way you have with free-to-play games. And basically the others are, oh, sorry, just a quick call. And the others as well have some, how to say, some impact on the experience of each other. So if you're like a free-to-play player to join the game, basically you enjoy the game not at the same pace as somebody who spends money. Play to earn is pretty similar in a way. It's like the guy you want to buy his way through the game to get very high level very quick, play at the hardest level and have a chance to get the biggest loots, like the best NFTs possible. Then they can spend money to grind their way through the process. And then somebody wants to spend a lot of time, you can do that as well while earning a little bit of money. But where you earn a lot is when you're at the highest level. And just game design. It's just how you monetize and how you do the economy around your game and the design of it to cater to different players. But ultimately, you have to have a game that can bring everybody together. The same way free to play does that. Free to play, when you're like not spending money, you can enjoy it. You just don't enjoy it the same way. But still, if you're like on a play to earn model, you can still grind your way and then do some smart moves within the game to progress faster. Whether somebody who just have the means, just get in the game, spend the money, which goes back to the people who are grinding the game, plus obviously the creator of the game. But that's a dynamic. It's, to me, is very similar to play to progress models. So the pay to progress is really what free to play is about, not pay to win. So that's the angle. When you get this kind of angle, you can, to me, get a lot of traction. But that's what you need to have.
So will you say then, because as you mentioned, most of these play to earn games are very expensive to play because you need to buy personas, or you need to buy some NFTs just to play and be qualified to earn money. So will you say that then the next innovation that we need to pay attention to are the lending borrowing platform for the gaming industry?
In terms of lending, that's always interesting. The lending is exciting, but at the same time, you need to have people who are educated, because you need to be educated to be in this market. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm gonna get some money there and then do this, do that." It's not so easy. So to me, that's definitely an additional value. But to people who are already on board, they're already on the boat. They're already okay. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I already spend a lot of time. It's not for the average Joe who will be just launching a game, trying it, and then realize, oh, cool, I get a little bit of money. What's going on? How come I can spend that to buy stuff? Okay, that's interesting. And then those people spend more time and get more money, and then get in the system, and then you can provide them with opportunities like the lending market, and they're like, wow, that's cool. I want to progress faster because I understand what's going on. But people are usually afraid of lending because they don't know. They're just thinking about, okay, I'm just gonna lose my house, right? And that's not the case. But I think that's going to be a big driver as well to help driving more attention to this market and growing the market.
Very good. So when we look at all these factors, can you tell a little bit more about the Ultra roadmap, what you guys are prioritizing at the moment? Maybe give us some spoilers as well, what's coming next for the community. That would be great.
Of course. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms, I think what's coming. So you guys might be aware that we just opened our marketplace to our Wave 1 users, which are basically alpha users. So that's a next step for us, because that allows us to test, make sure everything works well, and then meaning that in the short term we can launch the NFT marketplace to the public. Our marketplace is what to say, is central to the ecosystem, because whatever is happening on the ecosystem of Ultra usually involves NFTs. So you need to be able to trade those NFTs. That's why it makes sense for us to launch the NFT marketplace before, for example, Ultra Games, which is a game distribution platform. Because then when you buy the game, you can actually resell your game. But hey, if you don't have the marketplace, you can't do it, right? So that's really central to the platform. What's upcoming as well in terms of Ultra, I think we're going to be able soon to start speaking about the different exclusive games, which we haven't done in the past, and I think it's going to be very exciting. I know the people working on it are like genius. It's really amazing. Other topics I think we are working on is tied to investment, funds, everything. You can see that all around, right? Obviously, Ultra is not insensitive to this. So there are some level of interest in things we are working on. And yeah, right now we're also working on some initiatives as well to grow the developer ecosystem around Ultra. So working with third-party companies and third-party people who can actually contribute to the system, contribute to the blockchain, contribute to the projects. But for that, we just needed to have a few tools that we are wrapping up here that will allow more easily people to just work on Ultra and make application, take advantage of the technology framework we put in place. That's one of Rami's purview.
Great, thanks a lot. Jackie, are we I don't know for how long this live have been planned. I have other meeting after. I would have wished I can stay for more and discuss. I think there is plenty of topics that are extremely interesting in the gaming space. Is there anything else that you guys want to share before maybe we conclude? I don't know if there is any more minutes available for this call, but yeah.
I'm not sure. So this is my first time doing a Twitter space. I don't know if there's a way to get questions from the 200 or so people we have online, whether we need to make them speakers or if there's a way they can submit them. Rami, I'm not sure if you've done this before and if you know.
Generally, the way that we've been doing it is for the Twitter space tweet, like the tweet that goes out that notifies your users. We allow users to ask questions and then we monitor and respond. But in principle, we can also have people raise their hands and ask for the speaker baton or however you want to call it, and we'll allow them to ask directly. How do you guys feel about that?
I think that's good, but let's just do a few and we'll try to wrap up in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Sure. So I guess we can open it up to the larger community. If you guys have any questions that you want to direct directly to any of the Ultra team, just go ahead and ask for the speaker and SwissBorg will allow it.
So I've just given Trader19 speaker rights, so please feel free to ask your question.
Hello everyone. I just wanted to say that we as a community are very excited about this project, and I guess Ultra is going to be the next Twitch plus Steam in the next 10 to 20 years. I'm very passionate about crypto and gaming, and I guess today we have the chance to actually participate in something like one of a kind technology in the beginning of its developments, even if the team was working on it for more than 10 years. So I guess we need more like marketing and space on the web, so all the users can be part of this project. And I guess the Ultra team is doing a great job by making announcements and keeping everyone updated on Twitter and on the media platforms. So this is a great project, and good luck for the next steps. And I'm looking forward to the gaming announcements and the exclusive gaming partnerships. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot for your support. It really means a lot.
Okay, next up we have Shax, who's just connecting.
It's Dave Shax here.
Hi,
right,
Dave.
so I missed the start, but I think I got the majority of it. Can you guys talk maybe a couple of minutes just on the price of your token, just from a very basic perspective? And my second question is, I had a brief browse around the website during the chat, and it says Ultra is currently only available for download on Windows 10. So I hope I'm on the right website. As a Mac user, and a bit of an Apple fan. What's the process and progress with that?
Yep. So for the first question, it's something we can't legally talk about, so
Okay,
I have to skip it.
cool.
For the second question, so we see the UltraOS client as something that is it's funny because I used to call it a Meta OS, and now the Meta world is something that you hear everywhere, and so it's something you will be able to install not just on Windows but on Mac OS and Linux as well. Everything we do um, in the development of the client and the libraries that we use and the tech that we make is made with cross-platform in mind. So even though we're not doing it right now, it's ready for it. Actually, making a build for macOS would be relatively easy. The problem is maintaining it. Um, you know, Ultra is a big development machine. There's the vast majority of our employees are developers, and um, maintaining multiple branches at the launch of a product is typically a very bad decision. Um, why? Because the application evolves so fast initially, and there are decisions that are made and changed, and it's kind of like we're working
Okay, yeah, no, that makes
like a
sense. If
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
process and if that's what's best for the company, then
yes.
I'll just
So
be patient and yeah.
exactly. Eventually, you will see announcements that there's the Mac version, because once the core development is stabilized, we can start having somebody in charge of making the builds every time there's an update, but also for the Mac.
Fine. Yeah, okay. All right. Thanks for that. Bye.
Yep.
A quick thing about, I would say not the price, because obviously we can't speak about it, but how the token works. So the token is central to the platform. So whatever you want to purchase on the platform can be used with the token, but we also have fiat gateway, so people can just use credit card, for example, to buy games or like primary sale NFTs, for example. So that's also goes in line with the seamless experience we want to offer to players and removing any barrier to entry. But the idea is also on the back end, when somebody's paid in tokens, we actually have an Oracle on-chain, which is like multi-currencies. So whether you use Euro, Yen, USD, whatever, we can actually use that and then convert the fiat money in tokens directly through exchanges. Meaning that if, for example, somebody is paid, I don't know, for promoting the content, somebody is paid for referrals, somebody is paid for just for his game, for publishing a game, you can select how much percentage is paid in tokens, and a chunk is forced as well for like promoters and all that, which means that automatically the money paid for the content is used to convert to tokens UOS. So basically, we go on exchange, we have an API, and then you just connect, exchange, market buy, or market sell, usually market buy, and that's how it works for the token itself. In addition to that, you have like staking solutions for the blockchain performances, so a queuing system that we developed in-house, amongst other solutions. But yeah, we can't speak about the price, but we can speak how the token is used across the ecosystem.
Yes, and I will add to what you just mentioned. So, because Ultra is the app ecosystem, and a lot of these apps are actually going to be dApps. As part of our protocol, we have the ability to sponsor transactions to users. So basically, transactions are free, but in the event that the blockchain reached its max capacity transaction per second, we need to decide who gets executed before the other ones, right? Because we can't, if we have a limited throughput and there's more than that, so what happens? Well, the way we deal with this is that companies or individuals can buy UOS and stake them. And when they stake them, they receive a resource we call Ultra Power. And this resource, you can spend it, and every 24 hours, it goes back to the max. If you stake more, you get more Ultra Power. If you stake less, you get less Ultra Power. You spend it every time you make a transaction, And what we do is we rank the transactions, we execute the ones that have staked the most. And so if you combine this with the app ecosystem, what that means is, let's assume you have a business that works such as Ultra Games. We want to make sure that every time somebody makes a purchase, that regardless of the market situation, of sorry, the network situation, that this transaction will be executed instantly. Like we want the transaction to get in the queue, have the highest or one of the really high ultra power, and then execute it immediately. So what we can do is that we can stake ultra coins, and then we can sponsor transactions that are triggered on a specific smart contract. So we can say anybody that uses this NFT smart contract to purchase that and that, or that use this smart contract XYZ for my game or my DApp, that they would receive my ultra power. And so that means that if somebody never staked because they're just, free users that come on the Ultra platform, and they're going to use your game smart contract and the network is at full capacity, well, that transaction is still going to be executed instantly because that business made that investment to ensure that their services are always working and always executed before everybody else. So there is a real big advantage for businesses to run their business, because suddenly their mission critical businesses can be run as a mission critical business, where if you need to ensure that your users at all time can do it, well, you can just buy US coin, stake them, and then sponsor the transaction types that you're interested in. And that's something we're the only ones in the world that are capable of doing, and which is also one of the reasons why all these big companies want to work with us, because we're providing a blockchain solution that ensures that they won't be disrupted by the blockchain networks when they're heavily being used.
Okay, let's finish up with one more question. So I've just invited Chunsik Kim to speak. Oh, or not. Okay, I'm not sure if you still want to ask a question, but your microphone is turned off. So if you need to unmute yourself, and if you don't unmute yourself, I'll move on to the next person who's got their hand raised.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm a huge big fan of Ultra IO since a year ago. I have two questions for you guys. First one is there was a shutdown in a Wave 2, Ultra Wave 2. What was the main reason was that? And also the number two is it's not offense to SwissBorg, but for Ultra IO, is there any other plans for listing up in exchanges, any other exchanges? That's all. Thank you.
So Ultra team, I believe this question's for you.
Sorry, the first one I haven't understood. What about Wave 2?
I think that he's asking, like, we had a delay right before we launched
Okay.
Wave 2.
Okay,
I think he
okay.
wants to know, like, what happened
Makes
there.
sense. Yeah. Okay, so for us, the waves are not a marketing tool. For us, they're part of our development cycle. So waves are coming to allow us to test the platform in different aspects of the platform. So Nicholas just pointed that out with our NFT marketplace. So we tested it internally, the team, everybody purchased NFTs and had feedback. Okay, we solved the feedback that we got, internally. Then we just opened the NFT marketplace to the Wave 1 people. they come back maybe with some other feedback. Once these feedbacks have been addressed, then the Wave 2 people will get access to it, and then eventually it's going to go fully public. So internally, so it's really a tool. And if we know there are issues and we know everybody's going to complain about it, or if we know there's some architectural changes that were made and we need to actually test them, then we're not going to release it to the Wave 2 people, because really we're using it to test. And maybe the QA team said no, we don't want to release it now because simply I want to test these other things that are incoming. And so that's the delay. In the meantime, with one people, we're able to use the platform, and of course the team internally also. So that's why there's a delay. So it's really it's the QA team that drives kind of like the decision of whether or not we're ready to onboard new members.
Well, thank you. And so thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to wrap up the space now, just because we've been on for a little bit longer than expected. So if you aren't already following SwissBorg and Ultra on Twitter, please do so, because then that's where you can get all of the latest updates about both of our projects. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
great day.
Thank you,
Take
guys.
care. See you around.